You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. Very excited to be here with you today. We are going to be talking about taking control in your life. Now, keep in mind, some things we have control over and some things we don't. It's kind of finding that happy medium between the two, because living full out means that we tenaciously go after what we want in life, but also being realistic with sometimes needing to find resources or get support to get to where we want to go or to overcome a challenge. And so throughout the entire show, our focus today will be on how you can take control in your life over things that you absolutely can do. And we have a very inspirational guest coming up shortly here, and we're going to telling you about her story shortly. But keep in mind, if you want to hear today's show again, go to livingfullout.com, click on the radio show tab, and then click on the Spreaker button. You'll be able to hear this show and all of our episodes again and again, because there's a lot of great information that sometimes we just don't take in the first time. You want to hear it a second time or a third time. Also, if you have questions about today's show, or if you have an inspirational story that you feel our audience would benefit from hearing, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com. We'd love to hear from you and be able to answer those questions that you may have. So our guest today, Kristine Greer, she overcame ovarian cancer. I mean, cancer is such a scary word for so many, but to talk to somebody who's a survivor, who lived through it, it's an amazing, touching story. And she went on to start a foundation called Charlene's Light. She'll tell us about that as well. So I very much like to jump on in and welcome our inspirational guest today, Kristine Greer. Hi, Kristine. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Yes. Oh my gosh. For everybody, just so you know, Kristine is like the nicest person ever. Now, I'm not saying that cancer takes mean people, but you are like super nice. So I want to go back to when you were 41 and
yes.
your doctor notified you of a bump. It all starts with a bump, right? What happened that day?
Okay. Well, I actually went into the doctor for an annual exam. I had no symptoms, no reason to believe that I would hear anything concerning. And upon examination, my doctor said, I feel something in your abdomen. I don't know exactly what we're dealing with. Let's do an internal ultrasound called a transvaginal ultrasound and see what this is. It turned out to be an ovarian cyst about the size of a grapefruit. And she said to me, hey, don't worry about it. It's just a simple fluid-filled cyst. It should probably go away in 30 days or so. It'll change. So, it'll disappear. So come back in a month and let's redo the test. So I left that day and I thought, well, that's strange. I don't even feel like I have a lump. Went back 30 days later, had the test repeated, went home, and that's when I heard a message on my phone recorder. It said, call me immediately. I need to speak to you. Well, my heart about stopped.
Yeah, no one likes that word immediately. That's not good.
No, exactly. And that's basically when my cancer journey began. I feel like, it was that warm summer day, that phone message from my gynecologist. She brought news to me that I'd have to begin a courageous journey. So I was up against ovarian cancer. In that 30 days, my cyst changed and it grew and it became the size of a football. On the ultrasound, it showed some, the outside cell structure had changed and it was very concerning. So she said, we need to do surgery right away. The problem was I have a very rare disease called mastocytosis. And anesthesia, being put under, is very risky for me. So, I froze. I thought, what do I do now? So we consulted with my rare disease specialist at Mayo Clinic, and we decided together that it was too risky to put me under for major surgery. I ended up with a spinal to numb me, and we proceeded with the surgery, and it was a, pretty lengthy surgery, very involved. It was a full hysterectomy. I was completely awake.
Now, I'm just curious, Kristine. I'm just curious, before we go on with your story, you find out you have ovarian cancer. Gulp. Now you got to do this hysterectomy. Gulp, gulp. Like, how did you stay positive during this time? How did you stay hopeful? Because for those who are getting that news today, unfortunately they may get it tomorrow, how did they stay hopeful?
Well, that's a great question. To start out with, I tend to be a very positive person, but, just good old-fashioned power of positive thinking. But, to be real here, that's scary news. That's terrifying news. And I really had to look within. How do I do this? How do I make it through this journey and be okay again? My clear definition of mental strength, what is it? I think, you try to regulate your emotions, you try to act in a positive manner, manage your thoughts in a healthy way despite your circumstances, but I needed to find the courage to live. And I was scared.
Did you allow yourself to cry when you needed to?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I certainly did. I accepted the support and love that was given to me. I meditate. I prayed. I did a lot of guided imagery. And I also set my sights on the big picture. Okay, in 2 years, I can see myself bicycling. Or in 5 years, I'm going to be laughing with a group of friends. I wouldn't let myself go to that dark place too often. I need to live in the light, and I have to focus on the positive, and that's how I have to operate. Not that I'm not scared from time to time, but I can't cope if I'm terrified. It freezes me.
Well, and I'm so glad that you were honest and sharing that with us, because that is what people need to hear right now who are facing that. And I think it is important to visualize what your life looks like after the cancer, because you don't want cancer to take control of you. You need to tell it, okay, listen, you're going to have a couple months, maybe even a year, but after that, be gone. You're no longer welcomed here. Now, Kristine, I want you to stay with us. We have to go to a quick commercial break, but there's so much more to your story. And so everybody, you stay with us as well. And this is Kristine Greer. We'll be right back. This is the Living Full Out Show. And stay tuned. We'll be back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about taking control of our life. Sometimes it's just spiraling out of control. Like, how do we get back on track? How do we feel whole again? How do we feel safe and secure and alive and feel as though we're going in the direction that we want? Well, that's what we're talking about today in many different forms. But we're going to jump right back into our interview with our inspirational guest today, Kristine Greer. She's sharing with us about her fight with ovarian cancer. She survived, but it came with lots of emotional pressure and stress and fear. So I'd like to welcome Kristine back to the show.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'd like to say that, as we were talking about how do you do this, there are times in life when we need and we deserve a pity party. But I say to the women that I meet struggling with ovarian cancer, make it short. It can be harmful to stay at those pity parties too long. If I speak to women recently diagnosed, I suggest to them to take time and have their pity party, grieve, face those scary feelings, and feel sorry for yourself. But then move on and make a plan.
You know what?
That party can
I love
time.
I love that idea. I mean, I'm a fan of crying. I hate to say that, but I am. I mean, I don't cry all the time, people. Just know that I'm stable. But I believe if you need to flush something out of your system, do it. If you need to call sounding boards right and left and complain, do it. But like, I agree with you, Kristine. Give a time parameter around that. An hour, a day, but don't let it be on and on and on, because there's a life that's meant to be lived, and we can't live it with a dark cloud of fear, depression, and so forth haunting us.
Exactly.
So take us back here. So you do the surgery. Unfortunately, you couldn't go under. You were awake for the entire experience, which everybody listening, I mean, nobody wants to be awake for a surgery. I mean, you're hearing everything they're doing. It can be kind of gruesome, actually. To be awake.
It was scary.
Yeah. But you did. You got through the surgery, and your mental state of mind at that point was, okay, Kristine, you did it. You did it. They got the cancer. They took it out. Whew, life is going to be good again. But it wasn't.
That's what I was hoping. So, 4 hours later, I was wheeled into recovery, and my surgeon, waited with me as my husband was brought in, and she told us together that I had ovarian cancer. And I just kept thinking, okay, I'm still here. I made it through the surgery, even though I went into anaphylaxis from a drug that they were testing me for later for pain. But I'm still here, and I couldn't believe she just said those 3 dreaded words, you have cancer. Cancer is a very powerful word, and I used to see it as this big, giant word, all in capital letters. Well, not anymore. I feel like I'm in control, and I don't give it that much credit anymore. It's not a big, giant neon sign in my life. I don't allow that. But that took a while to get to that point.
Well, and on top of that, you were told it was stage 3, which again, gulp, 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 right? Another twist. So stage 3, let's talk about that. What does that mean to be stage 3 ovarian cancer? What was the outlook for you?
Sure. Well, I was mortified to learn that the prognosis for stage 3 ovarian cancer was rather dismal, to say the very least. 2 days after my surgery, the surgeon walked in my room and stood by my bed and said, I have some bad news for you. It's stage 3. I was so ill-prepared for that. I was thinking it was perhaps a stage 1, maybe a stage 2, but I didn't know a lot about ovarian cancer, but I knew that, stage 3, that's not good. Mm-hmm. She, I believe, was very nervous about presenting this information to me and left the room. I said to her, by the way, dying isn't an option, so tell me where to go. Where would you send your mother, your sister, your daughter, because I need to live? And she said maybe a teaching hospital, and left the room. And my husband and I were just devastated.
Not the best bedside manner, I would say.
No. And looking back now, I believe she just was upset too and didn't prepare herself. Mm-hmm. So now when I speak to medical schools about my experience, I'll tell them, it must be gut-wrenching to give a patient hard news and bad news. It must be. But here's some suggestions for you.
Yeah.
Don't stand over the patient. Sit down. Be a kind, gentle human being. Perhaps touch them on the arm or the hand if you're both comfortable, and remind them you're a team. You're going to work together. Be honest, be truthful, but be caring.
And we should all be that way, really.
Exactly.
I want to make sure, because we only have a limited time here in this interview, unfortunately, and I could talk to you for hours. However, let's fast forward, because you did survive. But what was it that allowed you to survive?
Okay. Now, I'm a 15-year survivor of stage 3. We also know we didn't get it all. There was some tissue remaining. There were malignant cells in the wash, which is what they do before they, stitch it back up. I was treated at Mayo Clinic. My type of ovarian cancer was extremely rare and 100% resistant to chemotherapy. So it was very terrifying. And I had a wonderful GYN oncologist, and I said to her, okay, I'm going to have to figure this out. I know we're a team here, but I'm going to have to figure this out because I want to live. I love life. I have so much to live for, and I'm going to beat this cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went home, and I literally made a plan for myself and wrote it down. Okay, what are some things that I can do to get well again? And I called it my ovarian cancer plan, and things such as, eat organic. It was diet. It was exercise. Even though I was in good shape and I was a pretty healthy eater, I thought I could perhaps tweak things. I chose to not watch the news anymore. I wanted to only be around positive people, positive things.
So you started
for a good solid year.
So you just started to develop this kind of list of self-care for yourself.
Exactly.
And so did you not, so you didn't do chemo, you did self-care.
I couldn't.
You couldn't do it, obviously. So because we have a little time here, so did it just go away? Was it just this miracle?
Well, there's no evidence. I continue to go to Mayo Clinic for checkups because ovarian cancer has a very high recurrence rate of 70 to 90% of women with ovarian cancer typically can come back. And I thought, wow, my only option will be surgery. I have got to really focus and concentrate on getting rid of this cancer. I did a lot of guided imagery, very positive thoughts, a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation, qigong. This is what worked for me. And each woman's journey is different.
Right. So it was the surgery that you did to get rid of as much as I could, and that it was your positive energy, all the things on your list to do, and then that has that's what's kept it off, kept it away for these 15 years.
So, and I perhaps I have received a miracle, and I am so extremely grateful. I do think gratitude is one of the most important, foods for the soul. It has the ability to enhance our happiness and our well-being. So I am just so grateful. I truly don't take a moment for granted.
Well, and what I think is so interesting, and this happens so oftentimes when we go through something, we channel that into purpose. And with that, you started Charlene's Light. And we just, want to make sure we just get that in because it is such an important organization. What is Charlene's Light?
Well, after I was diagnosed, a few years later, a friend of mine was also diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer, my friend Charlene. And her journey with it was much shorter. It was very difficult. She never really experienced remission. She was going through lots of chemo, and it was very sad to see as, this monster was taking her life. And the last 6 weeks of her life were spent at home, and I was so honored to be able to go over to her house and visit with her and chat with her. And one morning I thought, wow, hey, God, give me some sign here. I have to do something about this. I was stage 3. I'm thriving, and here's dear Charlene, stage 3, and she's dying. What can I do? And it was a light bulb moment. Start a nonprofit foundation. Take action. I went over to her house. I said, Charlene, I have this great idea. I want to put, this into action here. I want to start a foundation. You and I had no idea what the symptoms were, what ovarian cancer was all about. If we didn't know, there's got to be thousands of women that don't know about this silent killer. I want to start a foundation in your honor. And you did it. And you did it. It's we just have about 1 minute left, Kristine, and I just want to say, you took a scary situation, you stayed positive, you survived, you created Charlene's Light, and so you are such a great example of what it means to live full out. And I really appreciate you being on the show today and letting us know how you took control of cancer and said, get out of my body. Okay, I got lots to live for. So I am so grateful for you, and thank you so much for being on our show today. Well, thank you very much, and I would just like to say, all women, please educate yourself about the symptoms of ovarian cancer. They're very subtle.
on that note, everybody go do that. I know it's the Saturday, so go ahead and call on Monday, but get checked out. So thank you so much, Kristine, and I appreciate you for being here, and we will be thinking of you always.
Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. So everybody, honestly, so many good messages in her story. But taking control, do you see how she didn't let cancer take over her life? She put her foot down and said, no, cancer, get out of my body. She stayed positive. Whatever your challenge is, you have the ability to do that too. Today, you can do that. Positivity. Put it in action. Take control of your life to live full out. Now, when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls. Again, that number is 800-333-0001. And we're here for you to keep you motivated as you live full out. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council. We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
To take control of your life takes intensity, it takes commitment and courage. But when you are able to realize what it is that you want most in your life, seek the resources, get the support, now you're no longer alone. Now you're able to take control. It may look different than you initially designed, but you're still going to get there. It's all about living full out on your terms. So start today by taking control over your life.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you so much for joining us today for this show. We're talking about taking control. And while that may seem like a heavy topic, it's one that we need. It's one that we have to consider because, again, some things in our life we can control. Some things we can't. We got to start there. And when it's the things that you cannot control, then you got to pray. You got to be positive. You got to think to yourself, I'm going to do what I can and just let the other parts of that unfold. You can't constantly be hitting that brick wall demanding that something work out. You kind of got to go with the flow. That's part of living full out, is being fluid, letting things flow naturally. Now, exciting, the things you can control, that's when you put strategy in play. That's when you get the resources, you get the support that you need so you can achieve your goal. It may not be that you have all the answers, but let other people fill in the blanks. Again, that's why we're here each week. When you have a challenge, when you need to be empowered, let us help you fill in that blank with what you need so you can tenaciously step forward in achieving what you want. In fact, we're going to go back to the phone lines now and talk to one of our callers. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, thank you for joining us. What's going on today? How can we help you?
All right. I have a small dilemma with friends and family. Everyone is settling down, having children, getting married, which is great. I support that. But for some reason, I've never had that desire. But I keep getting pressured by family and friends and everyone around me to do it. And I don't know how it is I can just get them off my back. It doesn't matter how many times I explain it or what words I use. Like, leave me alone. I know what I want to do in life. I'm passionate about my goals and careers. And it's very frustrating.
You know what? I love that you brought up this question because, and I'm sure quite a few of our listeners are nodding their heads, because it really depends which side of the fence you're on, right? Some people have a family, they're married, they have kids, and maybe that's what they wanted. Maybe it happened unexpectedly, but that's the journey that they took. Others, maybe they can't have kids. Maybe they haven't found that special someone. Maybe they're focused on their career. There could be a number of reasons. And it isn't that one is better than the other. It's just recognizing on both sides of that fence, there's positives and negatives. So here's what I'm thinking. When you talk to your friends, or if this should come up again, I want you to guide the conversation this way. Start with that whole fence thing that we just talked about, right? There's going to be times where they're, as a mother, as a father, having a family, being married, there's positives and negatives. Let them talk about a couple positives and a couple negatives. The positives should be rejoiced, yay, because you're happy for your friend that they're so happy. But some of the negatives say, you know what, I feel you. That is why I have chosen not to, ... You see that?
Right, yeah.
So it just depends. Why you choose to not take that route is completely up to you. But maybe there's reasons why you haven't done that or don't want to do that. Maybe career's your focus, right? So maybe if your friend is, one of their cons is I never have enough time for me, or, I wish I could make more money. I'm tired of being home all the time. Okay, I hear you. And that is why I don't have kids, ... You see how that correlates? Or somebody might say, my husband, my wife, not, negative comment. That's when you can say, see, that is why I haven't signed up for that. Do you see how you can make that correlation? It'll kind of nip in the bud that they're going to keep asking you about it. But what it will do is pull them into your world a little bit more to understand why. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Because it can be exhausting to have to push people away. Don't ask that question. Don't ask that question. I say you invite the question. Bring it, right? It's all about taking control of your life. Bring on the questions. Bring on the concerns. Let me show you why I've chosen not to take that journey. Okay, so I think if you do that, it'll help, and it'll start a conversation. It'll develop a further, deeper understanding, and even maybe make your relationship with your friends or family even more strengthened, deeper. So, but I really appreciate you calling in. It was a wonderful question, and we'll be thinking of you and wishing you luck with those conversations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you for calling in. So what a great example, right? Here she is. She's taking control of her life. She's living her life the way she wants, yet other people are pulling her, asking her, demanding of her to do things differently. Well, sometimes that happens in other aspects of our life. I mean, look at our inspirational guest, right? Kristine was pulled and demanded by cancer, but she said no. So when you are convicted about what you want in your life, when you're living on purpose, when you just feel like, hey, I'm happy, I love my life, then you don't even have to worry anymore about the haters or the people who are complaining or even the cancer that may be diagnosed in your body, because you're then living your truth. It's important that today you step out there, confidently control your life. You are the captain of your ship. Don't ever forget that. I want to thank everybody who listened today, especially our Living Full Out family here who puts the show together. We have Mindy and Rich and Carrie and Debbie and everybody in the studio who's dedicated to helping you live your life full out. We will see you next week. And again, I believe in you. Confidently go out there, take control of your life, and all about living full out. See you next week.